Imagine you wake up in the morning and see a city with no people left in it. On the streets, only robots. They move along the sidewalks, enter buildings, ride public transport, work in stores, and maintain the entirety of city life. At first glance, this is an almost perfect system. No one gets tired, no one is late, no one asks for a day off. Robots can work around the clock, never complaining about the heat, the cold, or a bad mood. But as soon as you start to think deeper, it becomes clear. For a city of robots to truly work, it needs an incredibly complex system of management, energy, and logistics. And if even one thing goes wrong, this whole beautiful picture can quickly turn into chaos. Who does the work? If a city is populated by robots, almost all familiar professions will change as well. In stores, robots will replace cashiers. Autonomous machines will take care of street cleaning. Robotic arms will work in warehouses. Construction, delivery, security, maintenance. All of this can be handed over to machines. In theory, this sounds very efficient. A robot doesn't get tired, doesn't take sick leave, and doesn't ask for a salary in the human sense. It can work 24 hours a day, without breaks or weekends. But robots have their own limitations. They need energy. They need technical maintenance. They need repairs, updates, and a centralized management system. This means that a single faulty server or a network failure could bring an entire district to a halt. And then it turns out that a city of robots depends not on physical strength, but on digital stability. Transportation in a robot city. Transport in such a city would be completely different. Instead of regular drivers, autonomous cars. Instead of traffic jams caused by human inattention, perfectly calculated routes. Traffic lights, intersections, and parking lots would also become smart and fully automated. On paper, this is an excellent system. Fewer accidents, less noise, fewer unnecessary trips. But here, too, there is a problem. If all cars, buses, and trucks are controlled by algorithms, then any system failure could cause a massive transportation collapse. One wrong signal, and dozens of cars will start driving in the wrong direction. One navigation bug, and an entire district will come to a standstill. So in a city of robots, the roads might be safer, but the dependence on technology will become almost absolute. Safety and order. Now, the most interesting question: who will keep order? In a city of robots, security will also become robotic. Patrols, surveillance, access control, automatic recognition of suspicious behavior, all of this can operate without human involvement. On the one hand, this could make the city very safe. Fewer thefts, less street crime, rapid response to incidents. A robot doesn't get distracted, doesn't get scared, and doesn't get tired. But on the other hand, such a city could become too controlled. If the security system is too rigid, any non-standard situation will be perceived as a threat. Then even a simple deviation from a route could trigger an alarm. This results in a strange paradox. A city of robots could simultaneously be the safest and the most strictly controlled place on the planet. The economy of a robot city. The economy of such a city will change completely. If there are almost no people, the familiar worker salary consumption model begins to fall apart. Robots can produce goods, deliver them, sell them, and maintain the infrastructure. But who will be the end consumer? If there are no people in the city, it means robots don't need food, entertainment, and many familiar goods. This creates a very strange economic model. The city might be incredibly efficient in terms of production, but at the same time, it will lack a living purpose for consumption. Everything will work. But what for? Such a world begins to resemble a perfectly tuned mechanism that spins on its own, but without a familiar human purpose. What could go wrong? And here we come to the main risk. If a city is entirely populated by robots, that means it is completely dependent on electricity, communications, software, and the control server. What happens if there is a power outage? What happens if a virus gets into the system? What happens if a single control center fails? That's right, the entire city could come to a halt. Elevators, transport, security, delivery, communications, stores, everything would be paralyzed. Humans have flexibility. A robot has an algorithm, and if the algorithm doesn't work, it simply waits for a command. Therefore, a city of robots seems powerful, but in reality, its main weakness is its absolute dependence on technology. The final. So what will happen if a city is populated by robots? Initially, an impressive technological breakthrough, then a dependence on energy and digital systems. And in the end, the question isn't whether robots can manage the city, but whether such a city is needed at all without people. What do you think? Is a city of robots the future, or is it too cold and dangerous an idea? If you'd like, I can make a continuation.